If Russia decides to invade, Lithuanians will be ready. That's because the government is printing manuals to advise citizens on how to survive a war.
Residents of the former Soviet state are advised to launch cyber attacks and organize demos via Facebook and Twitter to resist occupation.
Keep a sound mind, don't panic, and don't lose clear thinking, the manual explains. Gunshots just outside your window are not the end of the world.
You can always fight occupiers with strikes and rallies, and also don't try to work too hard as well. We spoke to Foreign Affairs expert Sergio Trifkovic. He believes it's fear-mongering at its finest.
There are many people who feed on Russophobia and who are almost eager to exploit any event that could be misconstrued as sinister Russian intentions.
In 2015, Lithuania made international news for publishing an official government booklet to help citizens prepare for emergencies. Many outlets translated the booklet's Lithuanian title to be How to Act in Extreme Situations or Instances of War, and then posted headlines about the fact that it was in case of Russian invasion. They weren't exactly wrong, but there's more to the story. As reported by Newsweek, the booklet was a joint project between the Ministry of Defense and Lithuania's Fire Brigade, with the goal of educating the population about what to do in emergencies and wartime situations. The Minister of Defense said the project had been made more urgent due to Russia's recurring aggression against its neighbors, presently in Ukraine. Again, this was back in 2014-2015. And so today, I thought I would look at the booklet, what it actually says, and include other information surrounding it. So let's get started. So first off, just for the record, I think much of the media mistranslated the original Lithuanian title of the booklet, which I'll show here. My wife and I agree that it would be better translated as What We Need to Know About Preparing for Extreme Situations and Wartime. The English version is titled something different, Prepare to Survive Emergencies and War. The original Lithuanian version, published in 2014, was 98 pages long. The year after, in 2015, an English version emerged, but this was a shorter 57-page booklet, which included more drawings as well as charts on Lithuanian military ranks and insignia. The introduction of the shortened booklet has this to say about reasons for the revision. The changes made to the format and contents of this publication result from the remarks the first edition received at its public presentation and the comments received in writing. We greatly appreciate our readers' reviews and consider it a proof that specific guidance on Lithuanian citizens' conduct during emergencies and war is in demand. It is very important that society demonstrates a deep interest in this subject. It is a sign that our society is conscious and mature. Cognition gives us advantage even over a potential aggressor and makes us stronger and safer. So then, the most recent Lithuanian version I can find is 60 pages and was re-released in 2022, but looks just like the 2015 English edition. I'm sure one of the big reasons for updating it more recently was due to the change in Lithuanian military uniforms, as you can see here. I won't go over the entire booklet since you can do that yourself, but maybe I'll highlight some of the things that I found particularly interesting about the publication. The first big thing you'll learn is to have a plan, and discuss this plan with your family members. Planning also requires gathering the right supplies and proper amounts. It then describes what an official warning signal sounds like. I'll try and find the sound and play it, but it's described as a 3-minute long pulsing wail where you'll hear about 9 seconds of sound followed by about 6 seconds of silence. This is meant to grab your attention, and so if you hear it, turn on your TV or radio and listen to instructions. You're also instructed to leave Lithuanian national TV or radio programs running all the time. Included in practical advice is this: be aware of the truth that leaving ahead of time is better than leaving belatedly. Going out to discuss actions in the event of a chemical threat, it instructs you to go perpendicularly to the wind direction so that the wind is blowing on your side, and bypass low terrain. In the event of a radiological threat, it says, be sure to have stable iodine preparations, potassium iodide or potassium iodate, if such an instruction is given. It then goes over the recommended dosages for iodide prophylaxis. And if you're coming back from a chemically, biologically, or radiologically contaminated environment, first avoid contact with your family members to avoid transferring the pollution onto them. It then instructs you on how to decontaminate yourself. Next is what to do in the event of an explosion, and then what to do if you're trapped under rubble. The section after this is an interesting one. What to do if you find yourself in a pushing crowd. Honestly, this is a slight fear of mine whenever I attend a big event. In case you didn't know, there have been some really bad cases in the past where people have been trampled or crushed to death.
In Seoul tonight, what started as a joyous Halloween street festival, ending with screams. Those terrifying crowd surges, and that image of first responders desperately trying to revive dozens of victims.
One thing mentioned in the booklet that I didn't know is to take off your glasses if you're wearing them. It says, you would rather want to lose a clear view than your eyes. A further section is what to do if you have been taken hostage. Face it that being afraid is natural. The initial 15 to 45 minutes are the peak of risk, so obey your kidnapper's instructions immediately. The more time you spend together, the smaller the risk is that the abductors will do you harm. Do not try to escape unless you are absolutely sure you will succeed. If you are sure, double check the probability. And then there is a section on mobilization and what reservists, as well as trained and untrained conscripts, need to do. Other citizens are advised not to panic and to carry on with your normal household and work activities as long as you are not called in or drawn into the civilian reserve of mobilization personnel. And then, if you spot queer groups of armed people in your neighborhood or any other location in your country, report what you saw by calling the emergency number 112. I'm assuming that this translation doesn't take into account the fact that the word queer has a different modern meaning and might be better substituted with the word suspicious. Then there's the section that all the media outlets were so interested in back in 2014 and 2015. What to do in the event of encountering hostile forces. Essentially, stay away from the soldiers and don't provoke them by taking photos or videos. Also, keep your hands out of your pockets if talking to an armed person. If you are evacuating, make sure you have a civilian appearance to reflect that you are indeed a civilian. So, no wearing khaki colors or camouflage patterns. Don't wear militaristic backpacks either. Here are 4 interesting points in the section about survival in a territory seized by enemy forces. Weigh the need and feasibility of acquiring a weapon for self-defense from robbers and pillagers. In case you come across a weapon, do not try to pick it up because it may be mined or used as bait for enemy soldiers. Do not walk around at nighttime. You will get killed. Enemy soldiers will judge a nightwalker to be an enemy trying to change position, transporting weapons, or carrying out reconnaissance. Women and girls should wear concealing, baggy clothes so as not to provide a pretext for the highly risky company of enemy soldiers. There's a little bit more about civil resistance should the aggressor set up their military occupation authority. This includes not collaborating with the military authority, trying to send out as much information as possible to the media, and even talking to enemy soldiers to tell them you oppose their commander's propaganda but do not mean to cause any threat to them as individuals. And then the final pages are more graphics-based, showing images and charts to help the public recognize and identify Lithuanian forces and units. My big reaction to all of this is how sad and unfortunate it is that this kind of booklet even exists and has to be made. But it's the sad reality of living next to aggressive neighbors. Sure, there is a lot of good information within that relates to emergencies that could happen anywhere in the world, but advice for dealing with an invasion? Now, that's pretty sobering. I'm quite curious about how many Lithuanians have actually had a look at this, because the government can put it out, but who's keen enough to take a look? I put out a highly scientific Instagram poll, and out of all the people that voted from Lithuania, only about 1/3 of people knew about the booklet. Well, I suppose it's not standard curriculum in schools, or something every newly arrived foreigner is tested on, but again, all the information is made easily accessible, and I will post links in the video description so you can check it out for yourself, either in Lithuanian or in English. And so I'll close things off by asking you if you knew about this before watching, or is it new information to you? Let me know by leaving a comment.
Čia svarbiausias mūsų išbandymas, bet nepanikuojam. Darom pagal planą ir mes laimėsim.
Ekstremalių situacijų metu laimi tie, kurie turi stiprią komandą ir aišku veiksmų planą. Sužinokite, kaip pasiruošti nelaimėms ir kaip elgtis jų metu svetainėje lt72.lt. Esame komanda, turime planą.